Welcome back to this last session of our discussion of the lesson matter in our surroundings. So in the previous sessions we have discussed about what is matter, what are the different states of matter, why some matter are solid, why some others are liquid and gas. We also went on to discuss the interconversion of matter, and we saw that change in pressure and change in temperature can help in converting one form of matter into another form of matter. Today we will be discussing the last portion, that is difference between boiling and evaporation, and also what are the factors that affect evaporation. From our previous session we know that boiling is conversion of liquid into the vapor state. So when the liquid, it loses all the force of attraction between the particles now have more kinetic energy and they try to escape from the vessel. That is what is called as boiling, and the temperature required to convert a liquid into vapor at its atmospheric pressure is called as boiling point. Now there are a couple of differences between boiling and evaporation. Boiling is a bulk phenomenon. Boiling is a bulk phenomenon, whereas evaporation is a surface phenomenon. This is very important. When you are boiling a glass of water on your stove, we see that the entire vessel, the entire contents of the vessel, it is boiling. The whole water particles, they are moving around in the vessel. But that is not the case with evaporation. In evaporation, the particles are lost from the surface only. Therefore, evaporation is called as a surface phenomenon. For example, when you hang your wet towel outside for drying, what happens in this particular case? Let us say you have hung out your wet towel for drying. Because of the heat energy of the sun, particles will absorb this heat energy, due to which their kinetic energy will increase. So particles will have more kinetic energy, especially particles on the first surface, the first layer. And these particles, after gaining kinetic energy, they will be lost to the atmosphere as vapors, that is evaporation. Once this one layer is lost, another layer of water particles, they absorb kinetic energy and then they move out. So evaporation is a surface phenomenon, whereas boiling is a bulk phenomenon. Second difference, boiling requires a specific temperature which we know is called as a boiling point. Only when the liquid attains its boiling point, the minimum temperature, then it can escape into vapor. But in the case of evaporation, even without reaching the boiling point, particles can undergo evaporation. So for evaporation, it does not require any specific temperature. There is no evaporation temperature. It can occur even below boiling point. It can take place even below the boiling point. Do you think that when you hang your towel outside, the temperature of water particles has reached the boiling point, that is 100 degrees Celsius? No. because the atmospheric temperature is hardly 30 to 35 degrees Celsius. So even below the boiling point, evaporation can take place, because evaporation is a surface phenomenon. Layer by layer, particles attain energy and they are lost to the atmosphere. Boiling does not cause cooling. Isn't it obvious? Whereas evaporation causes cooling. During the process of evaporation, it cools the surface. Very simple example. If you take your palm and add few drops of alcohol, ethanol or acetone, after some time you will feel that your palm has become cool. Now that is because the particles of ethanol or acetone, they absorb heat energy from our palm and they undergo evaporation. So the heat or the temperature of our palm has come down, which causes cooling. So that is your difference between evaporation and boiling. The main thing here to keep in mind is boiling requires a specific temperature called as boiling point, whereas evaporation can occur below the boiling point also. Next, moving on to the last topic, that is factors affecting evaporation. So, wherein we will discuss the 4 important factors. Factor number 1, surface area. We know that evaporation is a surface phenomenon. Therefore, if we change the surface area, if we increase the area or if we decrease the area, it will definitely affect the evaporation rate. Let us see how. Let's take an example. Right, there are 2 wet towels. One towel you hang it out, you spread it properly. Another towel you fold it and hang it out for drying. Which of the 2 towels do you think will dry quicker? It is the first towel, isn't it? Why? Because in the first case, since you have spread the towel, the surface area has increased. Due to increased surface area, evaporation will increase. Factor number 2, temperature. No doubt temperature is a very important factor. You would see that if the same towels you would hang out for drying during rainy season and during summer season, in summer season the towel would dry very fast. That is because the temperature is higher. Due to increased temperature, particles at the surface will gain kinetic energy much faster and they will evaporate at a much faster rate. Comparatively, during monsoon, the sun is not out that frequently, therefore the rate of evaporation is less. So when temperature increases, rate of evaporation will also increase, and that is precisely how the water cycle works. Due to the heat energy of the sun, water will evaporate from the water bodies and go up. So evaporation is a very important natural phenomenon responsible for water cycle and also bringing the monsoons. Factor number 3, wind speed. Suppose you have a games period, PT period. You have played in the playground and you come back to your classroom. You are all covered in sweat. What do? You switch on the fan, and when you switch on the fan, you feel a pleasant, cool experience. Now you might think it is because of the fan. It is partially true, but partially it is because of evaporation. When you switch on the fan, the wind speed will increase. Due to the increase in wind speed, the rate of evaporation from your skin will also increase, and we know evaporation causes cooling. Therefore, when wind speed increases, evaporation will increase. That is why during monsoon, we switch on the fan and keep the cloths inside for drying, because it will increase the rate of evaporation. And the last factor, humidity. Now this humidity is affecting in an opposite manner. How? Firstly, what is humidity? Humidity is nothing but the amount of moisture in our surrounding, the amount of water vapor content in the atmosphere in our surrounding. So, by now you would have reasoned it out. If the moisture content, the humidity is high in the surrounding, rate of evaporation will decrease. This is because things or substances will always move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Since the atmosphere is already saturated, it's already humid, the transfer of particles from the surface will take place at a much slower rate. Therefore, when humidity is high, that is the reason during monsoon the rate of evaporation, the drying of clothes is comparatively slower. One reason is temperature, another important reason is humidity. So these are the four factors that can affect your rate of evaporation. When we increase the surface area, temperature and wind speed, evaporation will quicken, will increase. On the other hand, if we decrease these three parameters, evaporation will decrease. Humidity, when humidity increases, evaporation will decrease. When humidity decreases, evaporation will increase. Finally, there are some interesting questions for you to ponder upon. For example, when you pour tea onto a saucer, it is easier to drink. It becomes cooler much quicker. Why? It is better to wear cotton clothes during summer season. Why? Water poured in earthen pots and jugs become cool. Why? People sprinkle water on their front yard during summer season. Why? As you would have guessed, the answer for all this is because of evaporation, which causes cooling. So there are such interesting questions for you to answer once you have understood the concept of evaporation and the factors affecting evaporation. That is all for this lesson. Thank you.